Hello everybody. We're going to talk about mental health, trauma and the lockdown. And we're going to take a journey, and I'm going to use my own life as an example. But when you get to the end and we start talking about COVID and the lockdown, remember other people have been on their own journey and reached the same point in the same lockdown, in the same lonely house. So what I say then applies to them as well. Now, I started out as a carer and I found out that carers is the most unappreciated job there is. People just abuse the crap out of you, right? You really feel neglected and unwanted until they need you, and then they're right on the door, knock, can you help me, right? They're always there when they need you and they're rude the rest of the time. And that really caused me problems, for decades. I've really felt as a carer that, nobody gave a shit. Everybody looked down on me. Nobody valued the work I did until they needed me. And then suddenly I was the best guy ever whilst I was doing the work. Then the lockdown hit, the first one, right, recently this year. And I was running around spending my money on people, helping them, spending a fortune on buses, right, just across town to see people. Nobody thought about that. Right, one of them I asked last year, name one thing I've done for you, and they couldn't name it. I'd spent 5 months, 6 months helping them, and they couldn't name a single thing I'd done for them. Should have been a warning, that. But I just ignored it and carried on. But during the lockdown, all the running around, I bent over backwards for people. And then one day the wife said, that's it, it's over, and I lost the wife, the job, the house, all at the same time. Right, and I reached out for help, and everybody let me down to different degrees. They all let me down. All the people I thought I could trust, all the people who were the foundations of my life, the people who made me feel like, yes, they feel the same way I do. Like when I say to somebody, some things about caring is embarrassing, we just get on with it, they go, yes, okay, we're on the same page. I'll say the relationship is just so certain things will never happen. We're on the same page. We've got to be there for each other, So we're looking after each other, same page, basically being nice. Turns out it was all fucking bullshit. None of them thought that. They didn't think, they were just telling me what they wanted to hear because they needed my fucking help. Some of them covered up, the fact of what they were doing to me by making it sound like I'd done something, just so they didn't look completely fucking evil. But that's their past. We're getting on to past in a minute. But all of that was on my mind. It literally tore away the foundations of my life. All of it, because it wasn't just one person, it was all the closest people, all the people close to me. Suddenly, my foundation that I was stood on was quicksand. And I was drowning. I was drowning in quicksand because what I thought was safe and secure and solid wasn't real. I was the only person who felt we should be there for each other that still was. Everybody else abandoned me the first chance they got. And some of them made it worse. Some of them pushed me to the point of suicide. Now, when I was homeless, I was fortunate to have friends and some family that took me in and, kept me afloat, let me stay at the house. And they didn't cause me any stress and things. They were just unconditional love and support. And I was lucky because after initially choosing bad people to stay with, I fell in with a good crowd and, I was able to recover. And I was able to recover in some of the good positions. Like at one point I was with a family, Craig and Sarah, in a family environment, and that was nice, right? Because that's what I'd lost. And then at the other time, I was with Pete and Paulie's at Withensea, in a place very much like I am now, nice and quiet with a chavvy seagull outside and some ferrets, which at first were like all bitey with me, but now we've got arrangements going, me and Mark anyway. But anyway, the thing is, right, it pretty much saved me. Right, because I'd been pushed to the end of my tether by everything else. My life had collapsed. Everything about what I thought was secure was wrong. Everything people told me turned out to be a lie. I was the only one out of everybody I knew that felt like looking after everybody else and taking care of each other was important. The rest of them had been asked to do it and found wanting. And I dwelled on that. For some time. And then I came to this flat. And it was great at first because I'd been in other people's houses for 5 months or 4 months, right? And I didn't have any me time, and that's hard. That's hard to deal with on its own. Everybody needs me time, and I didn't get me time. And then that wore off, and eventually this second lockdown hit. And this is where we get to the same place everybody else is at. That's my trauma up until that point. What I carry with me entering the second lockdown. Now, in the second lockdown, I'm in a flat, and if you just listen, I can just, nothing better to do than just sit here and think. And what I think about is how I was let down, how those I could trust would prove to be untrustworthy, and those I thought would be there for me weren't there for me, and how all my assumptions proved to be false. And my very foundation didn't exist in the first place. And that is on my mind. It boils down to something that I only realised as Keir Starmer started talking about carers and how we're underrated and stuff. I've heard thousands of politicians say that about carers, but not do a damn thing about it. In fact, Cameron said the same thing and then punished us for 6 years. Right, so they'll never do anything good for us, but they will step on our heads immediately after saying well done. So they're lying all the time. But this time, it made me intensely angry. More angry than I should have been, because I've hit that topic before. And I realised it's the carer thing. It's me looking after everybody else and not feeling appreciated. It's just more of the same shit that's been going on the whole time. My trauma is related to the fact that people don't appreciate carers. Not the people that don't get cared for, and not the people that do. We're taken for granted by pretty much everybody. Now, being alone in a flat allowed me to think about that. That's not a good thing, right? I've got all the time in the world to dwell on that and just let it go through in my head. And so's everybody else. They've tread their own path to get to this lockdown position. And now they're in their flat out there somewhere thinking of the same problems and letting it dwell on it and letting it just build up. That is the path, the journey through to trauma and then beyond. Now, your trauma might take you to the middle ground, but being in lockdown while you're thinking about it, that just magnifies it. Now, Alan Watts said, we should live in the present. Now, he has a lot of flowery words to describe basic concepts. I could describe orange juice in flowery words and look rather smart, but I'm not going to because it's a waste of words. But basically what he was saying was, if you're living in the past, it's like being stuck in one line of a song. He never said that, I did, right? But that's what he was saying. It's like being stuck in one line of a song, you never get past the first line. Being grounded in reality means you sing the rest of the song. Now, he described it in the same, a bird song. You can hear the birds in the background. Just listen to them. Just let them go, as it happens in real time. When it gets to the end, move on. Right? That's being grounded in reality. We're focusing on one bit that happened in the past. That there is living in the past, and that is dangerous. That's where you are. It says the past, he says, was created by the present. Right? The present creates the past. So you're either creating a new past for yourself, or you're living in the past, not moving forward. Because if you're focused on that one line in that song, then you're not moving on. You're stuck there. Now, when we're in a flat like this, in this environment, the COVID lockdown, we're all stuck in that first line of the song. Now, we can either let whoever wronged us change our personalities and then make us very unhappy because we never chose that. They did it to us and we just let it happen. Or we can fight back. We can choose to fight and maintain ourselves in spite of the bastards. We can say they wronged me, but I'm not going to let them determine who I become. I'm going to become who I want to be, not what they've forced me to be. And I think that is the battle going on with me right now. I've been let down by so many people close to me. I'm having to fight to maintain who I am. And I won't lie, the nasty me is fighting the nice me. And whilst the nice me is holding ground, it's taking a fucking battering from the nasty me. The nasty me is kicking the shit out of the nice me. And it's very, very difficult to take that kind of assault. That's a metaphor for the nasty me is much more convincing than the nice me. The nice me is saying, no, help them. Help the people that let you down. Nasty me is saying, poke them in the fucking eyes and tell them to fuck off. Given what went on with me, which way would you jump if you were in my shoes? And you'll understand why the nasty me is actually doing better than the nice me. But that's the trauma right there manifesting itself. It's very painful, stressful, anxious. It caused me all kinds of issues. But I recognised it for what it was. It's all to do with the caring. And the fact that people underrate caring because they're fucking bigots. It's as simple as that. It's bigotry in its worst form. I mean, they see caring as a worthless job beneath them, so they treat everybody like shit, when actually people become carers because they want to look after people who can't look after themselves. It's a human trait to be nice to people that need help. So if they're not being nice to people that need help, then they're evil fucking cunts as well as bigots. And that's what gets me. That's what really fucking burns my goat. So I never really liked anybody that was that fucking selfish. And every time they're nasty to a carer, that's what they're being. That's the root cause of my trauma. When they try to hide what they've done to a carer, somebody that looked after them, oh, that's a statement about them in their past now that they've got to live with, that everybody else knows about. Because here's the thing, if your reputation is looking after people and someone sees somebody else being nasty to you, it doesn't matter what they say, they're being seen to kick the person in the face that helps them. But that's not my past, that's their past. My past is to not, my present is not letting them dictate my future, how I develop. That's the battle I face. And this COVID situation isn't helping. It's giving the nasty me all the time it needs to do its work. It's like being put in a worst case scenario when you've already been shot in the arm. You know? When you should be in hospital, you're put out to fight again, even though you're wounded. So it's difficult. Anyhow, remember, we all travel our own journey. And, you know, the trauma or the suffering we've had comes out at times like this. It's not really the lockdown that gets people. It's the fact that they can start seeing the worst. And they've got nothing better to do all day but think about it. See you in the next one.